So Eoin, we're into the ticket calving season now, and you've 275 cows to calve down. Maybe just talk us through what it's like, you know, in terms of workload and kind of managing staff around this time of the year.
Yeah, so we had a good breeding season last year, so we knew we were going to have a busy start to calving season. We had 50% due to calve down in the first 2 weeks. So we tried to do as much as we could in advance of calving season kicking off.
Yeah.
So we had this shed prepped and we had our calving areas prepped, and we had as many things done as we could as in advance of it, but it still gets very, very busy. Look, we're very fortunate. We have a good team here. I have plenty of help.
That's kind of half the battle, isn't it?
Yeah, huge.
Yeah.
I've 2 guys there with me, and then Emer here does the calves, and then the family as well, my dad and my mum. So we have a good team effort, and everyone really puts in a big shift at this time of year.
It takes a good team, but it also takes, you know, good facilities and having everything set up. So like your cows are calving next door, and I suppose just maybe talk us through the protocol around calving down the cows in terms of getting colostrum into the calf and then probably looking after the cow a little bit as well. So
yeah, so my main job at this time of year is looking after freshly calved cows and that fresh calved calf. After that, we tag them, spray his navel, and bring them in here to the nursery. Most important to get that first feed in. It's well known, that 1, 2, 3 rule.
yeah.
That first feed of colostrum within 2 hours, we're getting somewhere between 3 and 4 litres depending on the size of the calf.
Yeah, so they're given their colostrum, and then they're obviously brought into what we're standing in here now, which is with the heat lamps, and it's the pens are kind of holding about 7 calves. So just talk us through how long they stay here, and kind of like you call this the nursery shed.
Yeah.
So just talk us through kind of the idea around it.
As nice as the calving areas are, like, we wanted to create as nice a possible area for the calf itself. So we have this building here, it's an old building, and we have a penned out, and we added the heat lamps to it. So every calf gets brought here. There's about 6 or 7 calves a day. There's 7 pens here. So each calf spends about a week here, and then they get moved on.
Touch on the kind of the feeding regime here in terms of are they getting 3 or 4 litres night and day? Are they getting a bit of hay, straw, a bit of roughage?
Not in here,
Okay.
so that's why they only spend a week here, because after a week you want to be introducing hay and pencils to their diet. Look, they won't eat much of it, but the sooner you introduce it, the sooner they start picking it, the sooner they start taking it in. The goal is to get them up to 5 litres as soon as possible across 2 feeds. Day 1, they get stomach tubed, obviously, to 3 to 4 litres. That second day, they might not actually drink that much. They might only drink 3 litres.
Yeah.
And then the goal is to get them up to 5 litres. By the time they've left here, they're going up to 6 litres a day.
So kind of in here it's about consistency
In
in
here,
the milk diet, and then getting them out to
the most important thing here is getting them started and training them. That's
yeah.
Emer's work. Like,
Yes.
Emer has probably the hardest job here
Okay.
some days.
Yeah,
Training
going.
calves.
Yes,
Like some of these, you know
Yeah.
yourself, some calves can be a bit difficult to get
Of course,
started.
of course.
That's most of the work with the calf, is that day 2 and day 3, getting them to get feeding,
Okay.
having that patience with them to
Yeah,
get
patience
them
is the big
started.
thing. Yeah. Okay, so look, I suppose we're looking at a few Charlie calves. There's a Hereford there. There's a few Belgian Blues. So obviously you've moved past like your sex semen dairy straws. So just talk us through the breeding season then, in terms of, are you aiming for a 20-25% replacement rate, and then kind of what beef bulls are you using then on your cows?
So we're aiming for about an 18-19% actual replacement rate in our milking herd, and we like to carry 25% replacements.
Yes.
So we'll pick out our best cows and obviously our best heifers, and we'll use a lot of sex semen to try generate the best crop of calves we possibly can.
Yeah.
We'll use sex semen on a fixed time program on our heifers, and then we'll do sex semen on observation on the cows. After that, once we've got our group of next generation progeny, we want to maximize the beef animal we can get from our herd.
Yeah.
We've a crossbred herd, which obviously have less beef merits than
Of course.
other traditional herds. But it is my belief, with the right bull, you can compensate for that lack of beef merits with very good quality bulls.
So if you're intense with your selection, you can get an easy calving decent
The bulls
carcass
out there,
weight,
yeah, the
bull calf on the ground.
Yeah, if you're particular about the bulls, there is bulls out there that can generate a good calf crop of beef animals, even from a crossbred herd. We started 2 years ago using Belgian Blues, and we've got on very well with them. We tried a few Charlies last year and got on very well with them, so we've used more Charlies again.
So no difficulties, and you're getting a good value for your calf.
No, like I said, we're very particular. Number one is easy calving.
Yes,
There can't be any difficulties, but there is bulls out there that can be easy calving and will generate a good beef animal. Now look, within that you're selective of your cows. You're only picking your more mature cows for the larger beef breeds like your Charlies.
Yeah, and is that selection just down to yourself, or do you get a bit of advice on that or a bit of help?
So I'll do a lot of selection criteria on sire advice, but then I have a really good AI man, Leo Davis, so he's using his judgment as well.
Okay.
During breeding season, I'll draft out the cows and I'll say there are 7 or 8 cows for beef, and he'll kind of pick which one he's going to put Charlie on, or he's going to put Belgian Blue, or if it's a small first calver, she might get Angus. We treat every calf the same here, whether they're destined for our herd as a replacement or destined for someone else's as a beef animal. So we look after them to the best of ability for the time that they're here. That goes for all stock. So every animal comes through the same process. Every animal comes in here, every animal gets looked after. If there's any veterinary assistance ever needed, if it needs it, they get it. They're still all treated on the same protocols, you know what I mean? They have to get their 3 to 4 litres of colostrum, they have to get their first feed in, they have to be looked after.
No matter if they're a heifer, a bull, it doesn't matter, they're looked after.
It's irrelevant. Every
yeah.
animal, for the duration that they're here, we look after them to the best of our ability. The goal here is to have calves going to the mart 3 weeks of age, over 50 kilos. The better I look after him, the better calf I will have going to the mart, the better price I'll have, and the better it'll be for the next man.
In a lot of ways, the hard work is done getting that cow in calf and getting a good quality straw into her. So you're on the next phase of getting it right in terms of managing it.
Yeah, and like, look, the straws, they're all the same price. So like, you can get a good bull or a bad bull, just if you take the time to pick out the right one.
Once you're just a little over halfway calved at this stage, what's the current diet or nutrition of the cows at the moment? How are you feeding the cows at Hardney?
Yeah, so we hit 50% calves there yesterday. We're allocating 15 kilos of an intake to cows at this stage. That consists of 2 kilos of silage at night, 4 kilos of nuts, and 9 kilos of grass in 2 grazings. They go out for a grazing after morning milking, and then they go out for a second grazing after evening milking. If the weather conditions are good, they get left out between milkings and then just brought in at night. If weather is bad, they get sent out and brought back in after 3 hours.
Still, when do you plan to ring? They're on off grazing then. When do you think you'll be going full-time grazing on grass?
Look, as soon as conditions allow. We're close to it, but as it currently stands, it's working just fine, sending them out for 3 hours to get in nearly all their intake in that period. They're doing very little damage and we're getting good graze out.
This stage of lactation, the key things we want to make sure we're meeting that energy requirement of the cow. So to do that and trying to maximise the cow's intakes after calving. So we're at a steady rise on dry matter intake. So you're saying around 15 kilos at the moment.
This is week 2-3 of calving. 2 going into week 3, so we would have started at a 13 kilo allocation and rising by 1 kilo each week. and the silage at 2 kilos and the meal at 4 kilos will stay the same. I go out every day and I plot out a 12-hour grazing block, and then every couple of days I'll make that bigger. If they graze at all, well then I'll keep that size. And you're constantly making sure you're giving them enough and you're chasing, number one, that the cow is fed, but number two, you want to get your residuals too as well.
So what current protein nut are you feeding to the cows at the moment?
So we've currently an 18% nut in the bin.
Yeah.
The amount of grass we're getting into probably doesn't deem that necessary, but I wanted an 18% nut that if weather gets wet, I can bring cows in, I can feed more silage and performance won't dip.
Okay, so 18% protein. Look, I suppose high energy nut, you're probably looking at somewhere above 0.95 UFLs is what we recommended for energy in that nut, to try and complement that diet with your grass and with your silage. I suppose essentially we want to also keep in mind that we're making sure it's balanced on energy, protein, and that we're supplying the cow with the correct amount of vitamins and minerals as well that's required. How did you manage your drying off period? Were cows in good condition coming in?
Yeah, look, fortunately enough, with the back end the way it was, cows coming into the dry period in good enough condition. Tested our silage, it was 72 DMD, so we didn't need to feed any supplement for them to hit that body condition score, calving down of about 3.25, 3.5. So cows were in good condition, we maintained that good condition, and they've now calved down and are doing well for us. 6 weeks pre-calving, a high spec pre-calving mineral was fed, and then 2 weeks pre-calving we introduced half a kilo of soya a head to boost milk production and colostrum quality.
Emer, you're the calf rearer here, and I believe you don't come from a farming background, so just talk us through how this role came about and how you got yourself stuck into this job.
I was railroaded into it. That's what I did. No, I'm not from a farming background at all. Eoin came down and asked me, because I only live down the road, and he says, I have a little hobby for you. It'll only take you an hour a day feeding a few calves. And 4 years later, and like thousands of calves later, I'm still here.
So you must be doing something right if he's kept you on anyway.
Well, yeah, I must be.
And just talk us through then, so like obviously there's a lot of calves on the ground at the minute, so your job is just getting the calf tubed and getting her going, getting the colostrum into her.
Eoin will get the colostrum in, that's his
yeah.
forte. I would not be good for that.
Okay,
I'm more of the
getting them
softer
sucking.
touch, yes. So
Okay.
I'll train them, get them on a bottle, get them sucking. Some are great, they'll go straight onto the feeders. Some are a wrestle, but you just stick with it and get them going.
Like there's a certain amount of patience you have to have with rearing calves, because you know at times they can be a nightmare to get going. So maybe just talk about like your care for the calves and management of the calves.
Yeah, you do need a lot of patience. I think at the end of the day, I'm not being sexist, it is for a woman because women tend to have more patience than men. They are hard to get on. Some are brilliant, they'll go straight on, and some are a wrestle. And even I lose my patience sometimes. You need to leave, get a drink and come back at them. But some are great. Charlies are hard, but then once you get them going, they're great.
Yeah.
And like sometimes you'll have ones, like you do it twice a day, feed in the morning, feed in the evening. Sometimes you'll have a sick one and you'll have to maybe come back and give it a bit of TLC and you know yourself,
So
look after, make sure they're fed and...
I believe you're taking your work home with you sometimes.
Yes,
So
you would go home and you'd be thinking, that calf didn't feed properly for me today, and it'll be playing on your mind. You might come back to check. Sometimes I had one 2 years ago who forgot how to suck. So I used to come back at night and keep going. Eoin had to keep tubing until we actually eventually got her back sucking.
Okay.
A lot of work, but she made it.
Yeah, but that just
she kept going.
That just shows your care and enthusiasm to, you know, for the calf.
Well, I wouldn't.
And you need that.
I wouldn't be still here
if you didn't have to check.
No.
Yeah.
It's just after 10 o'clock here. and this cow is not long after having her calf. She's been cleaned off. That's the 5th calf since 6 o'clock this evening. No calves born today, and then all born this evening. The cows, the milkers are back in after their 2nd grazing, but I haven't got to put out their silage yet, so they're giving out stink. So I am going to stomach tube this calf, and then I'm going to bring him over to the nursery over there, and we're going to try out a bit of silage for them cows. And possibly, but look at this girl, we might have calf number 6 of the night. So all go. That's the way we want it. Just over 50% now, and going steady.
So we're joined now with Head of Member Relations at Lakeland Dairies, Eoin Corrigan. Eamon, I suppose, look, we're on a new entrant farm here. Eoin Corrigan, he was a new entrant in 2021, and since he's flying it now, he's an award-winning farmer. So getting those new entrants in this climate, it is a bit of a challenge. So can you just talk us through that challenge for us?
Yeah, Hugh, so I suppose at Lakeland Dairies we're very dedicated and focused towards attracting new entrants to dairy and to our own co-op. So I suppose we have a proven track record. We have over 500 new entrants which we welcome to dairy and into our co-op over the last 10 years. They've all transitioned from various types of farming systems and are making a very successful go at dairy. So I suppose to overcome them challenges, for our milk suppliers and for new entrants within Lakeland Dairies, we have a wide range of services and supports that are available for them. So I suppose typically in terms of new entrants, the process starts about 2 to 3 years in advance of that first litre of milk ending up in the bull tank. So that's in the form of our dairy development programme. So we have advisors that work with new entrants, and that's looking at business plans for the farm, financial planning, setting up the right infrastructure, grazing, getting the right stock for that farm as well. I suppose following on from that initial phase then, our milk advisors work with new entrants and milk suppliers around milk quality, compliance with Board B and Red Tractor, and also so I suppose the general day-to-day queries and that relationship with the co-op on a daily basis as well.
Very good, yeah, and look, I suppose generation renewal is a major talking point in the industry at the minute. There's no point in denying it. And we see that it is, we have to make it an attractive industry, don't we? So what way are Lakeland Dairies, or what way can we make that more attractive for the young person to come into the industry?
Yeah, I suppose it's a challenging industry, but what I would say it's a very rewarding one as well. I mean, we're on Eoin's farm here today, and if we take a look, he's producing a top quality food product. He gets to work along with his family, his parents, his wife, their daughter. Yeah, and overall, the future is looking bright for dairy. A couple of things that we work on, an excellent resource that we have within Lakeland Dairies is our land mobility programme. Okay. So Lakeland have pioneered that programme from the very start. So we have a dedicated advisor that works throughout the Lakeland catchment area. And the way that works, Hugh, is it looks at farmers who are looking to step back maybe from their enterprise or retire and marry up a new entrant or a young farmer coming in to form sort of a partnership or a share farming arrangement or a long-term lease. Our board of directors have also been very proactive in this space. If we look at our sustainability programme at farm level, so farmers chose a number of different initiatives linked to sustainability. One of those was around diverse membership. So that's about adding a family member, young farmer, female spouse onto your shareholding and getting them involved in our co-op as well.